Hey, my beautiful friends, welcome back to our quiet little corner of the internet. Go ahead and grab your favorite warm drink, settle into your coziest chair, and let us just take a deep and slow breath together. Because if you have glided through the financial news or checked your social feeds lately, it probably feels like the whole world is shouting at the top of its lungs. People are throwing around phrases like economic collapse and currency crisis, screaming about a massive shift at the Federal Reserve, as if it is some kind of terrifying financial doomsday that is going to ruin everything we have worked for. It is honestly so incredibly exhausting, and it is exactly the kind of chaotic noise that breeds deep money anxiety and makes us lie awake at night wondering if our savings are truly safe. So today, I really want to do something completely different for us. I want us to sit down, just like two old friends on a quiet rainy afternoon, and just gently unpack what is actually happening in the world, without the panic, without the hype, and without all that scary clickbait, because at the very end of the day, money is not just a cold spreadsheet of numbers or a flashing green and red screen. It is simply the energy we use to shape our daily lives. And true wealth is just about having the breathing room to enjoy a slow morning without worrying about a market index. So let us talk about this big change at the central bank. We officially have a brand new chairman leading the Federal Reserve, Kevin Warsh, who was handpicked by the White House to take over after Jerome Powell. Now the media is painting this like a high-stakes Hollywood movie, telling us he is caught between a rock and a hard place, saying he will either print endless money to pump up the stock market and destroy the dollar, or he will raise interest rates to save the currency and completely break the wider economy. But when we step back from that dramatic narrative, we can see things through a much gentler and calmer lens. You see, there has been a lot of public tension because the administration always wants lower interest rates and easy money to make the economy look booming and vibrant, while the central bank is supposed to act like a steady independent anchor that keeps inflation from running away and stealing the purchasing power of our hard-earned checks. During his confirmation, the new chairman explicitly told the Senate that he would not be a mere puppet and that the institution would maintain its strict independence, which is honestly a comforting thing to hear for anyone who values stability over chaos. Because let us be real about what the central bank actually is, despite its official-sounding name. It is not a normal federal agency filled with cash reserves where you and I can go to open a checking account. It is an independent entity whose sole job is to balance the economic gas pedal with the inflation brakes. If they press the gas too hard by cutting rates and flooding the system with printed money, assets might zoom higher for a moment, but your grocery bills and gas prices will skyrocket, which hurts everyday people the most. Right now, we are already navigating a very tricky inflation season, partly driven by geopolitical tensions in the Middle East that pushed oil prices up. And when energy costs rise, it filters into everything from the truck delivering food to your local store to the fertilizer used on farms, making life feel heavier for families whose wages are not keeping up with the supermarket checkout counter. So when the new chairman hints that he might be cautious about cutting interest rates too quickly, it might make the stock market throw a temporary tantrum, but it is actually a sign that someone is watching out for the long-term health of the currency. It means we might be entering a season where money has real value again, and where patience and steady saving are rewarded instead of wild speculation. But that is only half of the big news blowing up our feeds right now. Because a new executive order was just signed creating a brand new digital pathway called the Trump IRA platform, and the internet is going wild claiming it completely replaces traditional retirement structures. Let us clear away the confusion and look at this like old friends who care about reality rather than hype. This new initiative does not actually create a brand new type of tax shelter or a magic investment product that bypasses normal financial laws. Instead, it is a government-hosted marketplace designed to help millions of workers who do not have access to a traditional corporate plan, like independent contractors, self-employed creators, and gig drivers, easily find low-cost retirement accounts. It sets a beautiful standard by requiring any financial provider listed on the platform to have a net expense ratio of less than 0.15%, with absolutely no account minimums, which means everyday people can start building a nest egg without being eaten alive by hidden institutional fees. It also highlights an existing program that offers up to a $1,000 matching contribution for eligible low-income savers, which is essentially like getting a gentle helper to match your steps as you walk toward financial security. So instead of looking at these policy updates as terrifying complications or signs of systemic danger, we can choose to view them as simple tools to help us build a more stable foundation for our personal lives. For the average person who is just trying to live a beautiful and peaceful life, this environment actually opens up some really lovely opportunities to practice low-stress investing. If you have cash sitting on the sidelines, You can earn a beautiful, steady return in simple high-yield options without having to check the stock charts every hour. And if you are a freelancer who felt left out of the retirement conversation, you will soon have a very straightforward low-fee marketplace to start nurturing your own financial garden. We do not need to overcomplicate things, and we certainly do not need to panic sell our holdings. Just because the headlines are using scary words, try to remember that the economic world has always moved in these natural breathing cycles. We have seen major leadership changes at the Fed before. We have navigated energy shocks in the past. And every single time, the world kept turning. People kept waking up to brew their morning coffee. And families kept building beautiful lives together. The noise of the news cycle is always temporary, but your relationship with your money and your inner peace is completely permanent. So let us choose to do less. Let us embrace a beautiful philosophy of subtraction rather than addition. You do not need to day trade volatile assets late at night. You do not need to constantly refresh your portfolio to see what a group of voting members decided in a closed room, and you definitely do not need to feel guilty for just wanting a simple, quiet life away from the financial rat race. Instead, let us focus entirely on what we can actually control within our own homes. We can make sure we are not carrying heavy, toxic consumer debt that drains our mental energy. We can keep a comfortable emergency fund sitting safely, where it protects us from life's unexpected bumps, and we can let our long-term investments just sit quietly in the background, working for us like an invisible patient laborer while we focus on the things that truly matter, like spending quality time with people we love, or learning a new skill, or just enjoying a long walk outside in nature. This current moment in economic history is just a single chapter in a very long book. It is a reminder that the era of free money is taking a back seat, and that we are entering a season where being mindful, grounded, and cautious is highly valued. And honestly, that is a beautiful space for us to operate in. It forces us to be more deliberate with our choices, to appreciate the stability of a steady return, and to remain patient with our growth assets. So as the news continues to buzz and swirl over the coming weeks, just let it wash over you without letting it disturb your inner calm. You are doing just fine, you are here, you are learning, and you are taking care of your future with so much gentleness and wisdom. If this perspective brought a little bit of comfort to your day, please feel free to drop a message in the comments below. I love reading your thoughts and hearing about your own personal journeys. It really feels like we are building a sweet little community here. And if you would like to stay a while, go ahead and subscribe so we can keep having these quiet chats together. Take care of yourself. Be incredibly kind to your mind today, and I will see you in our next video. Now, let us look a little deeper into why people get so swept up in the emotion of these regulatory changes, because it is truly fascinating how a shift in central bank leadership can cause such a massive wave of collective anxiety across the globe. When we hear talk about political conflicts and criminal investigations into past central bank leaders, it paints such a dark and messy picture, and it is designed to make you feel completely helpless and unsafe. But if we step back and look at history, governments and central banks have been engaged in this delicate tug-of-war for generations, and the broader financial system always finds a way to adjust and reach a new equilibrium. It is not your job to fix the federal budget, and it is certainly not worth sacrificing your daily happiness over things happening in grand committee rooms. Your only real responsibility is to look after your own small economy, your household, your well-being, and your peace of mind. Think of your savings as a gentle shield that protects you from the unpredictability of the outside world. When interest rates remain steady, it means your shield is holding strong, generating a bit of extra cushion each month to keep you safe. So instead of viewing a hawkish central bank chair as a threat to your wealth, we can choose to view it as a necessary guardrail that keeps our currency from losing its value. It is all about how we choose to frame the narrative in our own minds. We can choose the path of fear and constant monitoring, or we can choose the path of acceptance and steady, mindful action. I know it can be incredibly tempting to want to jump in and try to perfectly time the market, to sell everything right before a policy meeting and buy back at the absolute bottom. But honestly, that is a stressful game that even the most sophisticated institutional funds struggle to win consistently, and the emotional toll it takes on your spirit is just way too high. Every time you open a trading app with a racing heart, you are spending a piece of your precious life energy on something that is ultimately completely outside of your control. That is why I am such a big fan of the approach where you just automate, simplify, and then go live your life, set up your accounts so that a little bit of money goes into your savings and your diversified index funds automatically every single month, and then just step away from the screen entirely. Treat your investments like a beautiful tree you planted in your backyard. You do not go out there every single hour and dig up the dirt just to see if the roots are growing. You trust the soil, you trust the seasons, and you let time do the heavy lifting for you. And right now, the current financial climate is actually offering us a very decent baseline yield on our cash, which means we can afford to be even more patient with our long-term growth assets. Let us also chat a bit about the broader job market and the cost of living, because I know so many of you are feeling deeply frustrated by how expensive everything has become. It can feel like you are running on a treadmill that just keeps speeding up, and that can bring up a lot of complicated feelings of inadequacy or worry about falling behind. But remember, your worth as a human being is not tied to your productivity or how quickly you can grow a brokerage account. A simple life with low overhead is an incredibly powerful financial position to be in right now. It gives you incredible flexibility, shields you from market shocks, and allows your mind to rest without constant pressure. When the system eventually finds its balance again, you will be in a wonderfully strong position because you did not let panic run your life. But until then, do not let societal hype make you feel like you are losing just because you prefer a quiet, steady path. You are exactly where you need to be, and your financial journey is uniquely yours. Let us also address the conversation around things like alternative digital assets and trendy investments. Because when people lose faith in traditional banking structures, they often rush toward highly volatile spaces out of a sense of urgency or fear of missing out. It is totally natural to be curious about new technological frontiers, but we have to be so careful not to let that curiosity turn into reckless gambling with money we need for our daily peace. If you do choose to explore those spaces, let it be with a very small, playful amount of money that would not change your life if it disappeared tomorrow. Do not look at it as a magical rescue boat that is going to instantly solve all your earthly worries. True financial security is built slowly, brick by brick, through consistent everyday habits, mindful spending, and a whole lot of patience. There are no real shortcuts to a peaceful life, and that is actually a very beautiful thing because it means the journey itself is where we grow. Learn to trust our instincts and build lasting character. As we look ahead at the rest of this year, there will undoubtedly be more surprising economic data points, more shocking political headlines, and more internet gurus telling you to panic. But you have a secret weapon that they do not have. You have the power to choose content over chaos. You have the wisdom to know that a simple life with less friction and less stress is worth infinitely more than a slightly higher number on a screen achieved through constant worry. So let us promise each other that we will keep things beautifully simple, we will keep learning together, we will keep supporting one another, and we will continue to view our personal finances, not as a stressful competition, but as a gentle, loving way to take care of our future selves. Thank you so much for spending this quiet time with me today. Your presence means the absolute world to me, and I am so incredibly grateful for this space we share. Until next time, please take care of your heart, be gentle with your thoughts, and remember that you are doing so much better than you think. See you very soon. Let us just sit with this feeling of calm for a moment longer, because it is so rare to find a place where we can just talk about money without feeling judged or pressured to constantly do more. Everywhere else, the message is always about aggressive optimization, about squeezing every last cent out of your budget, about working a side hustle until you burn out completely. But that is not what a well-lived life is about. We are not machines designed for maximum economic output. We are human beings who need rest, deep connection, and simplicity. And when the financial world gets complicated and loud, the absolute best response is often to become even more simple in our daily habits. Look at your budget, not as a restrictive cage that limits your freedom, but as a gentle guide that helps you align your energy with your true values. Ask yourself if the things you are buying are actually bringing real joy and peace into your home, or if they are just temporary distractions from the underlying stress of a busy life. When we learn to need less, we suddenly realize we have so much more freedom than we ever thought possible. And that freedom is the greatest return on investment you could ever ask for. It is worth more than any stock market gain or bond yield. So as you go about your week, try to bring a little bit of this intentional minimalism into your relationship with your money. Unplug from the constant market commentary, delete the apps that make your chest feel tight, and trust that your steady, quiet plan is more than enough to carry you through whatever storm the world tries to create. You have all the tools you need right inside you, and you are guiding your life with so much grace. Let us also think about how much energy we save when we stop trying to predict the unpredictable future. The experts on television love to act like they have a perfect crystal ball. But the truth is, nobody truly knows what the economy will look like next year. And when we finally accept that uncertainty is just a natural part of being alive, a huge weight lifts off our shoulders, we can stop reacting to every little piece of breaking news and start focusing on building a life that feels good on the inside. Not just one that looks impressive on paper. Think about the small daily rituals that bring you true contentment: a fresh cup of tea in the morning, a good conversation with a neighbor, or the peaceful feeling of watching the sunset. None of these beautiful things require a complicated investment strategy or a massive net worth. They just require our presence and a mind that is not consumed by constant financial worry. That is the real goal of our financial journey: to buy back our time and our attention so we can pour them into the things that genuinely feed our souls. So when the headlines try to convince you that a change at the Federal Reserve is a crisis, just smile. And remember that it is just another change in the economic weather. You do not get angry at the rain. You just grab an umbrella and keep walking forward. And in this economic season, our umbrella is just a simple, conservative approach to our money. We keep our costs low, we save what we can. We appreciate the safety of a decent yield, and we let the rest of the world chase after illusions of quick wealth. You are choosing a path of quiet strength and lasting stability, and that is something to be incredibly proud of. I am so happy to be walking this path right alongside you, and I cannot wait to connect with you again in our next chat. Stay cozy, be kind to yourself, and let your mind rest easy tonight. Let us take one more gentle breath together before we part ways, and just appreciate the fact that we have the space and time to care for ourselves in this way. It is a true privilege to be able to step back from the frantic pace of the world and choose a gentler path. You are doing a wonderful job, and your future self is going to thank you for the calm, sensible choices you are making today. Remember that true security does not come from a specific political administration or a particular central bank decision. It comes from your own ability to adapt, to live within your means, and to find contentment in the simple pleasures of life. No matter who is sitting in the chairman's seat or what new government website is launched, your capacity to steer your own ship with a calm heart remains completely unchanged. You do not need to be a financial genius to win at this game. You just need to be consistent, patient, and clear about what truly matters to you. Let the markets fluctuate and let the commentators argue on television, while you build your own quiet sanctuary of financial peace. You are stronger than the noise, and you are fully capable of navigating this changing landscape with grace. Thank you for sharing your time with me. Goodbye for now, my friends, and take care.